What's up?
So I hear Lou Hallis has written about, depending who you talk to, around 25 to 30 truck tickets. So are things quieter than the first ward now in South Pennsylvania? Okay. Okay.
I always feel like a rabbi on episode.
No, that's too bad. I was hoping the word would get out a little bit.
Who's pay the ticket?
Huh?
Who's pay the ticket?
Who's paid the ticket? Well, yeah, but I mean, he writes one, then they pay him eventually or
Yeah,
charge
so
for
there's a
it.
bit of stuff.
Okay, so I thought maybe a bunch of people could take us slow down a bit.
No, my father was a truck driver.
Okay. Too bad.
I know. You think that would help? Yeah. The only thing that's going to help is when it was a year ago, I was told that they're building a bypass. But they said it'd take 3 years, and that was over a year.
Just for everybody's thing, I put a piece of metal on the conference room table. That piece of metal fell off a truck and landed close to some people who were walking on the streets. And I just want people to see how heavy that is and what the truck traffic is doing in town.
I don't understand is council had to know this was happening at least 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, probably.
And I don't think they were so busy involved with the graph thing. They just totally.
They had, I moved here in 85. I used to, from my front door, to the steel mill front door was 3 miles. It's been that bad since 85. It's just now people care, because now we just have trucks running in the scrap and steel shit instead of people who so but yeah, it's been around that long.
Virginia, we're here.
Hi, Virginia, works here. I'm going to put you on hold, okay? Yes, right.
Stop and it's the right thing to do.
I know.
Somebody did a couple of them so the same thing. Like 60, 65. It'll be paid for the horse and paid for the I see those 65 we still need them.
Hello, Scott, can you hear us?
The need doesn't disappear. The fact that
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to put you on hold until the conference
We'll talk to
Virginia
you
is.
up next year.
Hold on, please.
Do the same.
Virginia, are you there? Yes. Okay, I'm going to
You get
put you
involved in
on
the
hold,
budget.
and I have Scott on the other end.
Yeah, with the fact we she makes payroll because of
Scott in
us.
Virginia, can you hear me?
Yes. I can hear you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry that we're getting off to a little late start. We had an executive session to discuss some police and personnel litigation matters. But without taking up any more of your valuable time, let's jump to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Virginia, may I have a roll call of council?
Yes. Yes. Mayor Anderson?
Mayor Anderson's not present this evening, Virginia.
Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Present.
Councilwoman Halal?
Here.
Councilman Libet?
Here.
Councilman Ness?
Here.
Councilwoman Murray?
She is also not here this evening, Virginia.
Thank you, Judy. Councilman Paul?
Here.
Councilman Robinson? Here. And Councilwoman Sherlock?
Here.
And our borough solicitor?
Yes, Scott Holbert on behalf of Flagrant Associates.
Thank you, Scott. All right, thank you very much.
Virginia, I would just like to make note that Councilwoman Carletha and Mayor Anderson were present during the Zoom executive session.
Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to announcements and presentations. Is Bob Jones and the Waste Management team here? Oh, very good. Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the council and the mayor for some time tonight at the council meeting. Myself and Councilman Lowell and Manager Judith Danko have been working on a project here, a partnership more so for the Morrisville Truck Safety Partnership Program between us and Waste Management and Morrisville Borough. And we're here tonight to present a check for $65,000 as a public safety grant for the police department, and the police department to employ a motor carrier specialist officer with the goal of ensuring safe operation of commercial vehicles and compliance with the PA state safety laws. As Helen talked about tonight, we're looking at this brake pad right here. This is obviously needed in a bad way here in this town, specifically along that route on South Pennsylvania Avenue. You know, we're well aware of the situation out there. I will tell you that our company strives to keep the trucks on Route 1 to 13 to Tyburn Road. That's a designated route to our operations. Then we sign customers up. That's what we tell them to go. We are constantly reminding our haulers to stay on the route. We hand out pamphlets and information every day at the scale house about this, chasing trucks around. So I think, hopefully something like this can help us get back on track a little bit with getting these haulers back in compliance and where they belong. So we're more than happy to do it. So with that said, I'd like to present this check to, I guess, to Judith.
Yes, by all means.
I wish we had one of those. Oh, you do have. You do. Oh,
We come prepared.
Got a big check?
wonderful. Yes.
I forgot to introduce you. Yes, that's Judy Archibald. She's our community relations representative. Jessica Parsons is a industrial accountant head who helps with policing stuff there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
They will be very nice. Back up, back up. I was just gonna say as much as the check. Thank you. I know, I know.
Good? Yep.
Thank you all, council, for taking the picture. Sure.
Now, according to the agenda, we were supposed to have a presentation by Amtrak, but that's been postponed. They couldn't make it tonight. Now, did the chief have something? That's okay. Okay. Then we'll move on to the public comment section. I got the sign-up sheet. I've got 3 people sign up for public comment. If anybody else wants to sign up, please do so. The first one is Pam Cuccinille. Apologies for pronunciation.
That's fine. You got it right.
State your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay, good evening. My name is Pam Cuccinille. I am a resident at 169 West Maple Avenue, and I'm here tonight, though, to talk about Bears Auto Service on 115 East Bridge Street. First, I want to say that I'm all for the fire and safety inspections. However, we've lived in the borough all our lives, and we've been in business now on Bridge Street for 42 years. And I could probably count on one hand how many times we had this inspection. Now that the new company has been hired to do the code enforcement, which I said is very important, and I understand it will probably be doing it on an annual basis. I'm sure there's been many different changes in the codes since we were probably first inspected. However, this time it seemed like we were not really given any kind of a notice that this was going to be done. And maybe we should have had maybe a little bit of information on what we could expect was going to be done. We did, this could have been done through the Business Association of Morrisville or through a private email or a business email, which we got all the other information about. There's many things that needed to be inspected, and I realize the fire extinguishers, for one, was very important, emergency lighting, means of egress, and electrical systems, and fire alarm inspection, along with any of the other issues that they thought should be inspected. The 2 gentlemen came down to our business and walked in, said they were from the borough to do this fire and safety inspection. My employee said to them, well, could I see some identification? And the gentleman pulled out a business card and gave it to him. So with that, they went ahead. My mechanics were very busy at the time, so they couldn't really spend any time. Had they known they were coming, we could have put some time aside. But they proceeded to go into the business and look around and came out and said that we would be receiving a notice of any deficiencies that could be identified during the inspection. So we did receive this notice via email on December 21st of 2022 and told we had 30 days to address the issues identified. Because we also had an electrical wiring that had to be done for one exit sign that had to be placed in the business. And also we had to get our alarm system inspected. So we completed everything in not 30 days, but in about 45 days when they came back again and said that they would work with us with anything that wasn't completed. So we did receive the final saying that we did pass the inspection on February 7th of 2023. So now my concern is that there was no proper identification. I don't understand why when these gentlemen come around, they don't have proper identification saying who they are. So, and also that if we could just be told about the inspection and maybe a little bit about what it was going to cover so that maybe we could be prepared better to fix anything that needed to be prepared, to be redone. Now, also the fee schedule. There was no fee schedule. Now, not that I think these people should be doing this for anything, but they should, I think, have let us know about any kind of costs or fees that were with this inspection. 2 days ago, we received a bill in the mail 2 months after the inspection stating that we needed to pay $315 for the inspection. Now, I don't know why, but we got 2 fees, not 1, but 2. One is for non-residential, which, yes, it is non-residential. And then another fee for the annual inspection. I can't understand why we were charged 2 fees, and I would just like a little bit of an explanation on that if I could. I guess that's about it. You could answer any of that for me. Thank you very much.
Hello, Ms. Ketchenale. I just would like to address this. If you could please contact the borough office. This is something that we would do with you contacting the borough office. We can handle this with you. Okay? If you could. You would ask for Judith Danko. Thank you. Extension 101. You're welcome.
Thank you. Joe Crett?
You said it right, correct. Yeah, my name is Joseph Crut. I live at 120 Osborne Avenue, Morrisville. We've been here about 3 years. I wrote up about 6 pages of notes, so I can say today, but I'm not going to do that to you guys. I do want to say on the 8th of this month, my stepson was shot at in Morrisville by a car that stopped over by the Morrisville bowling alley. And they shot him in with some type of pellet gun. I don't know exactly what it was. It was horrifying, but I did want to thank your brand new police officer for stepping up and doing his job. Special thanks to Morrisville police officer Lou Hallis. He tracked down the person who did it, and he arrested him. Apparently there's 4 people in the car. He got at least the 1, and I really appreciate it on behalf of Robin, my girlfriend Robin Johnson, and myself. So hopefully you guys can recognize him. So whoever took the thought of bringing that police officer up here, I thank you very much. The second thing is not a lot of positive press happens in this borough. A lot of Republicans, Democrats infighting, and it's a shame, and I understand it, but it happens everywhere, and it's all part of the our Republican process, our republic. We all have an input. I do have one person that grew up in this borough, Keith Sinclair. He grew up here. Went to Morrisville Elementary. I can't remember the name of it, or I think it was Ryder. He went to Morrisville High School. He did baseball. He did football. He lettered and all that. And the most important thing he did is he met his wife, Kathy Detmer, and they were married in this borough back in '86. He joined the U.S. military back in 1984, and he stayed in the military through various iterations until he's about to retire in January of 2024. This is one of your members, one of your community members. He lived here on Union Street. He now lives on Carlisle. I'm not asking anything for myself, but it's unheard of for a man to do 40 years in the military, between the Marine Corps, Marine Reserves, Air Force, Air Reserve, Air Guard, and he's still flying. He retires January of 2024. What I'm asking is that maybe the borough can take this moment to come together as a unit to recognize this man the way he should be. I've stepped up and I've contacted one of the people who run the parade in Morrisville for the Memorial Day parade, and they're going to make him the Grand Marshals, him and his wife, because nobody can make it through all these years. It's not just the man who did it, but his wife Kathy. They work hand in hand. Nobody does it by themselves. But I'd like to see Morrisville Council maybe present him with maybe a Keith Sinclair Day. I don't know. Something doesn't cost anything to the borough, but Keith Sinclair Day, or maybe the key to the borough, or maybe some kind of proclamation. I've also contacted John Galloway's office. They're going to try and do something. I contacted Brian Fitzpatrick's office. They're going to try and do something. I contacted your mayor. He's going to reach out to one of the county commissioners. They're going to try and do something. Everything's going to happen on Memorial Day. And I'm not going to try and hijack the Morrisville Day Parade. And I will after the parade is done. I'm going to try and have something in my backyard. I want all the distinguished visitors to come over and just take a few minutes to thank this man who's given, and his wife have given so much to our community, to my new community. I've only been here 3 years. I think you guys should give them the proper respect and maybe come together, formulate your own plan of what you think you guys should do. The mayor already said he would speak. So that's all I have, and thank you very much.
Thank you for those words. I personally have done high school, graduated had a I did, and you couldn't have said it better. The United States Marine Corps, United States Air Force, the City State Police. I can't think of anyone in this borough that has given more in public service over its whole life.
One more second. Again, his wife, Kathy, also is from this area. They both grew up here. But I also want to say a special thanks to Councilman Scott Robinson, Chief McKay, and Police Officer Michelle Williamson. They all provided outstanding support during our crisis. So thank you. David?
Hi, I'm Robin Reichmeyer, 335 Hamilton Boulevard. Excuse me, I've got terrible allergy cough. At last month's meeting, there was some discussion over why events were being approved for July, August, and September this year, and that why couldn't we wait a little longer? And I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention that in February, Bristol Borough started advertising all of their events for the year through October. This past Sunday, Bristol Borough had a food truck event that had 28 food trucks and 100 vendors. and you could not get into the borough. All of the restaurants participated. Nobody was shunned. Everybody was involved. So that was the one thing that I wanted to say. We really have to plan a little bit further in advance. 3 months sounds great. A year would be much better. We could get the events together, and we could get them advertised further in advance. All of it. The other thing I wanted to mention was a couple months ago, I was here on behalf of the Morrisville Economic Development Corporation. And at that time, I was asked if I could disclose who the buyers of the property on Delmore Avenue were. And I honestly told you, no, I could not, because we had signed a non-disclosure agreement. Last month, the Rabinas came and told you they purchased the property. I just want to make it clear that the Rabinas never signed a non-disclosure agreement. The EDC did. So at any time, they could say they were buying the property, and I could say we were selling the property. I just could not say that the Rabinas were buying the property. I just wanted to make that clear. I wasn't withholding any information from anybody. Thank you so much.
Mr. Paul?
Yes.
I'd like to mention too, but probably everybody knows that that sale finally took place. It went through last week, correct? Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. We just got the minutes this afternoon. They were distributed, so I don't know whether council members have had time to read them or not. If so, I'll entertain a motion to approve them. If not, we can postpone it.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, minutes are approved. Thank you. Moving on to finance, treasurer's report. It's in the package. Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the bill list? Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. The mayor's report. Since the mayor's not here, I guess there's no mayor's report?
Was that you?
Okay. Police chief report. Chief McClay.
Good evening, council. Tonight I want to talk about some of the events we got coming up. June 8th, June 22nd, July 6th, and July 20th. I'm asking to be able to use the park to have a movie night for the kids in the borough. The Baptist Church will help me with it. There'll be no cost to the borough, no cost to the police department. National Night Out, as you see, it will be July 25th. That's being moved up a week from last year because it was so hard to get the bouncy house and all the other things that I want to get. So we've already secured helicopters, all kinds of good things. That should be another great night. It will cost nothing to the borough through some private contributions. We will cover all the expenses, which includes a lot of the food and the bounce house and everything else. Just go over a few things that's on your agenda. The 457 program is a benefit for the uniform and non-uniform employees that cost the borough very little, but will be a lifetime, a good thing for the whole lifetime of a police officer and the non-uniform people. If anybody has any questions about a 457 program, I'm pretty good with it. I can answer any questions. The TASER program, I brought Gary Zapano with me tonight, who's pretty much an expert on it. Our tasers are at the end of their life. They are not guaranteed anymore by TASER. They will not cover us if there's a malfunction with them. And when I say a malfunction, say we deploy a TASER and it gives a lot more juice than it's supposed to. TASER will not back us. So it's an expense, but it's something that 100-day policing you have to have. Unfortunately, but we have to. You have to have non-lethal, and that's what we use for non-lethal. let's see, last week we did, in coordination with the district attorney's drug task force, we arrested a supplier of meth in town here. I know it made it to the Facebook of what we were doing at Dunkin' Donuts, along with a lot of jokes, but we took down a major supplier of meth in the borough. Officer German, who was coming on as a part-time police officer, decided not to proceed any farther with being hired. I think he's still very affected by the death of Officer Fitzgerald at Temple, and I just don't think he's in a good spot right now. So I welcome that, unfortunately. Our manpower right now, we have 9 full-time police officers with 1 out IOD, 5 part-time officers with 1 out IOD. We need to attract more part-time officers. I will be coming to the Finance Committee, your next meeting, to give you an idea of what I need to do in reference to salaries for the part-time officers and some benefits. We have to start being competitive, being more competitive, being equal to other boroughs, and attracting the very few candidates that are out there. So I'll be coming to the Finance Committee to give you some recommendations with that. So with that, if anybody has any questions, I brought Gary with me. If anybody has any questions in reference to the TASER program, forever hold your peace.
Mr. Paul?
Yeah.
Would Officer Zapata just like to say a couple words since he's here?
That's what I said. He said that.
I mean, I don't really have a question. I did read over the packet, but maybe he'd like to say something.
I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. We did it 2016, we did the same 5-year payment plan. So the useful life of the TASER is 5 years. So we're going on over 7 years, going on 8 years now. So we're just looking to replace it with a newer model TASER.
Well, I applaud the fact that we are replacing them, which is important. You don't want this, ones that malfunction.
Right. So it's not just the TASER. We'll get full warranties. All the equipment will come with full warranties. We'll get the probes that we need, the training probes that we need. So this is no more cost. This is just one.
They will pay for the training as well?
They'll pay for the training darts that we need. So every
Oh, the training. Oh, okay.
So they'll pay for
darts.
bringing 12 tasers. So they'll pay for 12 officers to train with it. Right.
So I had offered to help Officer Zampano.
It's my first time.
So basically, the information that he had provided me was, and I was going to help speak regarding this also for the police department. So that was why we went about it the way we did, because we had other presentations this evening. But Officer Zampano had offered up that the current tasers were purchased back in 2016. They are past the recommended useful life of 5 years. 2 of the tasers they currently have failed and they're out of warranty. So they can't be replaced. They're short 2 tasers right now. The new tasers and all the equipment would come with a 5-year warranty. The plan also includes the training cartridges, as Officer Zampano had indicated, and they would need those to fire each year to be certified. And then the current taser that they currently have is 25-year-old technology, which may soon be discontinued. The new taser they would purchase is a 4-year-old technology and a new design. The new taser is much more effective in the field and mitigates many of the major issues of the current ones they have. For example, the incident at the Quality Inn last year where an officer got hurt could possibly have been prevented with the new taser, as it's designed to be used from 3 to 6 feet away, whereas the current ones have 20 plus feet. He provided a website. I had provided all this information to council, so they did have this in their packets. And then there was the discussion regarding a couple of paragraphs detailing the 5-year useful life recommendation and the taser liability insurance that we currently don't qualify for because the tasers are over 5 years old. So all of this came from Officer Zampano, and thank you, Officer Zampano. Again, I just want to help because I think that this is a valid purchase, and I think that council should consider this.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I do. Quick one, if you don't mind. Assuming we sign this tonight and the borough manager signs the contract promptly thereafterwards, when will we actually get them in?
8 to 12 weeks.
That long still? Okay, thank you.
And the police chief did provide us with the 2 line items in the budget that we would be taking the funds from, and that is in council packets also. Thank you. Thank you, chief. And thank you, Officer Zampano.
Was this in the grants that you had applied for, the COPS grant or any of the other, I know we had, it was not included or we didn't get it or?
Very, very, very rarely do you ever see vehicles or guns, tasers, or any kind of offensive weapons.
Okay. Good to know. Good job, Officer Zampano.
Thank you. The manager's report. Ms. Danko.
Thank you, Council President. As you had heard, Chief McClay has been investigating a new 457 plan for all employees, uniform and non-uniform. That item is on the agenda this evening for consideration. He had also supplied a letter of recommendation from Chief of Police from the Middletown Township Police Department, which we received late, and I can distribute that to Borough Council if anyone is interested. Let's see. Some of the items that are taking place regarding the ARPA funds that we're working with and the issues that we're having at Borough Hall. We have collaborated with the borough engineers regarding the sewer line repair at Borough Hall. This work is on my manager's report to begin shortly. We received information today that it will begin this Friday. I'm happy to say that, this Friday, and continue commencement into next week. We are prepared for some work in the parking lot that is out front off of Union Street. So the Chief of Police has so kindly offered to help with letters on vehicles that do park in the lot to tell them they'll have to park on the street until the project is completed. And we will be supplying parking in the rear of the building for employees only, since we will need to all park in the rear of the building now. And anybody that's coming to the borough to pay bills and so forth, or to do business at Borough Hall, will now be utilizing the rear parking lot just until the construction is finished and complete. So we're anxious to have this completed. The other item that we've been diligently working on is the Borough Hall roof. This project has been advertised. The pre-roof bid meeting will be on 4/25/23 for the interested parties that are going to bid on the roof. At that point, we will have bid openings on May 9th, and if all goes well, we will have an awarding of a bid on May 23rd at the next council meeting. There has been discussion in regards to changing the council meeting also from May 16th to May 23rd. That's also on the council agenda this evening for approval of advertising, which we believe will take place. I'll be also bringing a contract regarding the electrical system for the Borough Hall to the council at the May meeting, where John Later and I are going over the details of that currently, and we'll be bringing that to council for approval very shortly. We also put our copier contracts out for quotations, and we have a company that we're working with now that is the lowest quotation, and we're requesting approval of that from council this evening also. So that will provide us with a new color copier for the police department. I'm happy to say that they did not have. They had just a black and white copy machine. We will have new copy machines throughout the borough building, and we're transferring the one that is in the basement over to the library because that's a newer unit. And we're very excited about all of that too. There's been a lot of discussion regarding the Bridge Street project at every single meeting that we're having. At this point, the additional grant funding has been approved. And with that said, we're working on the Williamson Park Planning Grant. So there's some decisions to be made regarding the Williamson Park Planning Grant. I had spoke a little bit about this with some of the council people that had attended the Policy and Ordinance Committee meeting. We will begin that meeting this Thursday. So far, we have 2 council persons that are interested in being on the study committee. Looking for 2 other council persons at this time. If not, I will be reaching out to others. If I don't hear anything from council, I was going to speak with several of them this evening. At this time, we have some decisions to make regarding this grant. We were informed that times have changed regarding these grants, and that sometimes it's better to, since COVID, to go after some of the grants themselves without the plans. So there will be a major discussion at the very first meeting as to how we would like to proceed. There's a very fast processed meeting schedule that we did put together because we would have to have this done by December 31st. And so far I have Catherine and Nancy who have volunteered to be on the study committee. And again, I'm looking for 2 other council persons this evening. So we'll talk more about that. And the information regarding this will be in the Friday drops for all of council. So everyone will see what is taking place. And Council President, we did receive an email from Ms. Cogan asking us to remove item 8K this evening. So if we could please make note of that.
Got it.
And I did want to mention, we have been working with Tom Josiah, as all of you are aware, regarding our finances. And we have made all the trial balances and journal entries for up to December 31st, 2022, and our audit is being completed. So I'm happy to say that the equity accounts were reconciled for the prior year, and we're currently working on escrow accounts now that have not been reconciled for some time, and that is what we're proceeding on, the escrow accounts moving forward. There's been some discussion with PennDOT regarding the proposed warehouse in Falls Township. I have another meeting lined up this week with them. We'll be providing more information as to what the scenario is in Morrisville and what our expectations are and what has taken place so far with all of the items with trying to make sure that the traffic patterns are going the ways that are needed because of the heavy-duty truck traffic. I can't speak this evening. Thank you. So those are some of the things that have been taking place. We're also working with the RDA, the blighted property at 327 Prospect Avenue. We're following through with the blighted process. The Director of Public Works, the Superintendent of Public Works, ordered our new dump truck with the salt spreader and snow plow that'll be paid with grant monies in full. We're very excited to see that, hopefully sooner than later. And Little League had their opening day, which I heard was very successful. And Mr. Ben Bressler has been working with the borough regarding all of the reportings, and we'll be providing that to Borough Council so everybody can see the information as to the rosters and so forth. So we thank Mr. Bressler for all of his hard work. And we're continuing with our efforts. Once we get past the electrical panel on the roof, we're hoping to do more items here at Borough Hall. But we're going to wait till we get those quotes in and bids in to see where we're at with the finances and how much those items will be costing the Borough Council because of utilizing ARPA funds for these items. Other than that, I'm not sure if the council has any questions.
I have a quick question, Judith. I don't know if I should say this for new business or if I could just mention it real quick right now. Concerning the roads, we didn't have any snow removal this year, so I'm sure we have, there's money that we would have spent plowing snow that we didn't. Did we use any of that in some way to do something with some of our roads? Some potholes at the very least up on the end of Nolan Avenue, and I believe that's Denton, past Fair Hill and Denton up there. That road is always terrible up there, and I believe it's 600 block of West Palm. I know there's an issue with underground stream there, and it's just when it gets fixed, whatever. But I was on those two roads the other day, and they're looking pretty bad. And we should have somebody that we can maybe.
Yeah, what happened? What happened to the? What happened to the road program? Because there's a lot of sort of streets down in the first ward that desperately need more than just a patch.
So I'm glad you brought all of this up, Scott and Helen. The potholes can certainly be taken care of. We just need to be alerted to the areas, and I can certainly pass that to the Public Works Department. That's an ongoing thing that we're constantly working on, so that should not be an issue. If it's just potholes, or if it's not a road falling apart, we can certainly take care of that. The road.
No, I'm just asking for potholes. I'm not asking for streets to be paved. I don't believe we have the money for that right now in the budget.
Certainly.
If we do, the whole street doesn't need to be paved. I'm just talking about some potholes throughout the town.
Sure, Scott.
There are some spots.
If you could just send me an email or some type of information with the areas, I would greatly appreciate that. And I'll make sure and pass that to Public Works, and we'll take care of that. Thank you. And the streets program, we are beginning to we just placed an ad in the paper. This will be in your drop, council, for Friday, actually. We are resurrecting last year's information regarding the streets program that had been approved in the previous year. There was an issue with advertising last year, and so we re-advertised this year, and we will be doing I'm going to have to put Kurt and Jacob, who are in the audience, up to the podium, because I cannot recall off the top of my head the roads that are going to be bid. If you're able to help me, I appreciate that. But council will be getting this information in their Friday packet.
I hope it's Benton and Nolan.
It's the same thing that was scheduled for last year that didn't happen.
Yeah, these were bid out 2021, so we just redid them because of that.
Is the microphone on, or you just need to speak a little bit closer, louder?
All right, so
thanks.
On the list is Hillcrest Avenue from North Pennsylvania Ave to Barnsley Avenue, and then alternate roads are North Lafayette Avenue from Hillcrest Ave to Clymer Ave, and then Keystone Avenue from West Bridge Street to Woodland Avenue. So those are two alternates in the event the base bid comes in at low.
They're alternate roads. They're alternates in the bid process.
If it comes in low.
Depending on what the cost is for the main bid itself. Jacob, thank you very much for that.
Hillcrest is definitely in need of one, but I'm going to suggest, I don't know what the timeline is, but they're still working on the Habitat House there, and it's very crowded with construction as well as like vehicles and so forth. I don't know when the timeline was supposed to start. Just to be aware of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'd attempt to do the project in the summer here. So bids would be, it's going to go public on April 24th. That'll be the first advertisement. And bids will be due May 12th. And depending on the price, we might have to go through the RCO, Responsible Contractor Review Period. So we were going to have it on your June meeting for consideration.
Okay, great. And if it actually comes in less, you could probably start at one of the other roads as well, maybe.
Yeah.
Right, maybe.
Can we get a whole list of the streets that are pending other than these three you just mentioned? Like what the list is?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, can you provide that to us?
I was going to say, Jacob, if you could provide that to me, thank you.
Yeah, because this has been a long time, and there are streets that I think are in probably worse shape than some of the other streets, and maybe that list needs to be adjusted.
Yes, the project that we worked on was a project that was already put together and ready for bid. So it never went to bid last year, and that's why we followed through with what was already approved previously, because we already had the work done. So it would have been senseless to not utilize the work that we had already paid to have accomplished. So that's why we followed through with what was on the time schedule for last year. Thank you, Jacob.
And you're going to be talking to PennDOT. I've been talking to PennDOT as well about North Pennsylvania or South Pennsylvania Avenue. That road desperately needs to be redone. Every time a truck goes across, every 10 feet, you hear ba-boom, ba-boom. It's shaking the people's houses. I was told that they're scheduled to be repaved in 2025, but I told them that it needs to be sooner because this is a long time to go with this kind of road situation. So can you talk to them and figure out what is going on there and if we could expedite doing South Pennsylvania Avenue?
Certainly.
Also, I was down with the Little League and the water fountains are off. Are they going to be turned back on?
John's shaking his head no.
John, would you like to speak about that, please?
Since COVID, we've decided, well, we took all the fountains out, and now we're coming back. We decided that, you know, they have water down there. There's tons of water for the baseball. They sell water. People bring their own water bottles. I mean, if it was really needed, but I mean, I just think that it's, you know, I think in this day and age, everybody brings their own water, so.
Well, sometimes you don't. I had some complaints from people because not all the concession stand isn't always open, and people do use the park.
It's up to council. If you want to turn it back on, we'll turn it back on.
Is there? I mean, is it? You didn't take anything away. You just turned the water off.
No, we just took off the fountain heads. So yeah, we can turn it back on. It's not a problem.
Council. Well,
I'd like to turn them back on. Now that you mention it.
But there's no control over them, right? I mean, they're on 24/7 and people can, okay.
Which we do have vandalism sometimes, but that's whatever you guys want to do. We'll turn it back on if council wants to do that.
I'm okay turning them back on.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I guess, yeah.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Turn it back on.
Go for it, John. Thanks.
And then
Thank
just
you,
let us
John.
know if, you know, that has to be changed.
And when is the Bridge Street project? What is the timeline for starting and ending?
Currently, we just received the extra funding, so Gilmore was very involved in finalizing the plans with the contractor. So we're hoping that very shortly they'll begin work again, and by fall, we're hoping that the project will be complete.
All of this year?
Late fall
Of this year.
Yes, that's the goal.
And how about Pennsylvania Avenue, the bridge?
There's going to be more discussion regarding that. We are still told that that is 2024, 25. We were told that they are going to reduce the weight limit on the bridge. So we're hoping to have more discussions. I have prompted that this bridge get taken care of sooner than later. We're going to continue to prompt that.
Anything else, Judith?
Nothing else.
Okay, committee reports. Any committee reports?
I have one.
Go ahead.
I was able to secure some mulch for the Robert Morris Plaza, but I need to know if Public Works can be utilized to go pick up the mulch from Britain Industries and bring it down to the plaza on Friday at morning.
Oh, is this the Business Development Committee?
Yes, it is.
Who else will be on that committee?
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm just talking about the mulch right now.
But you're giving the committee report, right?
I am, but I asked a question. So can we?
Okay, go ahead. I'll wait till you're finished, Jess. Thank you.
So Britain Industries has kindly donated mulch, but they would prefer that the borough pick up the mulch and deliver it to the plaza. So is that something that Public Works can do?
Public Works could pick up the mulch and drop it at the plaza. There was some information regarding volunteers working off the truck, and that would not be a wise idea. So I thought it would be best if Britain Industries stuck to just delivering it and placing it there, if possible. And then if there's anything left over that the Public Works would need to clean up, we could certainly have them do that. But it would not be a wise idea for the volunteers to work off of a borough truck. And we have to, so that was what was from what I had understood. I think one of the items that has been discussed prior to myself being here was if the borough would want the Public Works Department to be involved with the volunteerism throughout the borough, all of the seasons. If we do this for one business association, will we then be doing it for MEAC? I see her shaking her head, yes. Will we then be, so we're going to open up Pandora's box where we're going to get a lot of requests from everyone for the Public Works to be doing this for all these different entities. Not that I don't love all of you, I do, or all of us love all of you, we do. But we now are going into opening Pandora's box as to, do we say yes to the business association and then do we say no to the MEAC? How do we create a consistency again, which you all know that I'm very popular in trying to make happen, that we're consistent in what we're doing and how we're doing it, and that we're not slighting anyone. So that would be why I would recommend that Britain would just deliver the mulch and the business association would do their volunteerism, and then whatever is left or whatever is needed by the Public Works, they could come and, clean up and take away what will be remaining or whatever. Is that a possibility? Can we make that happen as it has in the past? Or?
Yeah, they were preferring that the borough handle it, so maybe we won't get the mulch then. So I'll let them know.
I could talk to Britain Industries and explain what.
How much is it? I can go pick it up.
They didn't want the bolts laying on the ground. That was the biggest thing I think I heard. They didn't dumping it on the ground.
Yeah, that's.
Give them a call tomorrow, and I'm sure we'll get it delivered. I'm sure it'll be done.
Okay. Do you want me to include you on my email to them?
You can. We're going to call tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to be included also because, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, I think first, Ms. Sherlock, you had a question about the Business Development Committee?
Yes, I'd like to know how it's structured. Most committees have more than one person on it, and when I inquired, I'm told it was mentioned that I could just ask to be on that committee, but that would have to come from the borough president.
Not every committee has any. For instance, the Blighted Committee only has one person.
That's not correct because that's not a committee. That's a policy review committee where it's by statute required to have it's allowed to have only one representative council. I think for the committees of council, such as including the Business Development Committee, I think it doesn't really make sense to have a one-person committee. That's not a committee. I know that Ted Parker, my predecessor as president, had set it up with you as chairperson of that committee, and that's fine. But I think we need to open it up to other members. We should allow at least two other members.
Well, I believe Scott Robinson and Andrew Lubin had asked to be on it.
I was going to say that Andrew had volunteered as Scott. If they wanted, I would put them on if that's
okay. That's fine with me.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
So moving forward, we're going to have Scott, Andrew, and Helen as chair of the Business Development Committee.
Mr. President.
Yes, ma'am.
And part of that is that it needs to have public notice when the meeting is, just like we do with all our other committees, and an agenda sent in ahead of time, and then a copy of the minutes that also has to be sent in. And Judith lights it at least a week before, or so, 2 weeks, even better, to get it in the packets. So that's just a reminder.
Okay, we'll leave that in the borough manager's good hands.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. My Policy and Ordinance Committee met on April 12th. We had, in addition to Nancy Sherlock, one of the members, we had Catherine Price Engelhard, and the borough manager attended. At the meeting, I went over proposed amendments to our ordinances that were prepared by Scott Hulbert with me during the previous week based on samples that Catherine had collected from some of the other neighboring boroughs, both of the ordinances as well as for the special permit application for events that would offer the consumption of alcoholic beverages. And we had a pretty productive session. We went through the ordinances in detail, made a few changes, which I have to go over with Mr. Hulbert in the next few days. And then we're going to submit for this council's consideration at the May council meeting, final approval of the proposed amendments to the ordinances that would permit the consumption of alcoholic beverages at special events sponsored by the borough. Any questions on that? Okay.
I'm going to give a report on the Parks and Recreation meeting that was held on March 28th. We talked about, of course, the damage to Conwell, and we were pleased at their response in getting the fencing up there and cleaning up a lot of that. So we're really pleased and really, that's going well. I'd worked on a grant to see if we could get some possible money just to start replacing the shrubs and bushes and stuff that were removed. So I'm working on that. We talked about the long-range planning for the Williamson Park, and it was discussed that we needed to start planning the steering committee. And I have some new information for you, Judith, but I'll talk to you later because I talked to the grant people. So, but we're excited about that. And then we've got, and I need to get what the chief is doing too, so that we're coordinating all the events. I'm very excited to hear that we're going to have these other ongoing events that involve families. That's great. I've gotten a lot of response, a lot of phone calls from people that are excited about this. So we've got several events. We've got, upcoming. The first one's going to be just a food truck festival, and we'll have a live band. And we have secured, thanks to a volunteer, I don't know if I can say his name, Kurt. No, don't say his name. Okay, I won't. Anyway, kind of maybe let it out the bag out of, anyway. So we've got already a great band, very popular, secured for, I'm not going to say the name. I'm going to keep it kind of.
Can we say the band?
Okay, it's 7, which is a very popular band. That's right, 7? Yeah, that's what I thought. And that's a band that was at Falls last year that had a huge following. So we're very excited. So we're just moving forward. And we're going to be setting some dates for painting the benches and for the continue painting the benches to make them look nice in the park. And the mural, which is looking great. And so that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other committee reports? Okay, we'll move on to action items. Item 8A, call for a motion to approve a 5-year contract with Axon Enterprise for the total amount of $49,678.50 to be paid in increments over 5 years for new tasers and necessary equipment for tasers for the Morrisville Police Department, to be paid for out of budget line item 410-227, enforcement equipment, and budget line item 410-317, special enforcement equipment.
So moved. Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8B, Call for a motion to approve the preliminary final land development application of ARD Pensbury LP dated January 5th, 2023 for 229 Plaza Boulevard, TMP number 24-1-1-5 and 24-1-1-6. Resolution for motion to be provided.
So moved.
Second.
Yes, Mr. President, I believe we have representatives from the company, and they can give a little bit of explanation of what the project is and
come on up,
how they're going to redevelop the plaza.
Good evening, council members. Can you hear me?
Just got to talk close.
Okay, sorry. My name is Zachary Sivertson. I'm an attorney with Eastburn and Gray. I'm here tonight on behalf of ARD Pensbury LP. They're the owner of the shopping center, 227 Plaza Boulevard. Just to give you a little bit of background, this property is split between Morrisville Borough and Falls Township. So the proposed redevelopment, we're proposing to demolish an existing portion of the building, and we're proposing to then construct a 10,000 square foot new retail store for a Dollar Tree. While we're increasing the size of the building by about 1,500 square feet, we're actually reducing the total amount of impervious coverage that's going to be on the property, and we're reducing the number of parking spaces that are on the property. So really, I think this is going to be a win-win for not only the borough and the fact that we're removing some impervious coverage and removing some parking, but we're also I think this is going to be a huge benefit for the shopping center and really be a facelift for the shopping center, the parking area. I'm joined tonight by CJ Bach. He's the engineer with Land Corps. He's more than capable of running through any of the waivers or if you have any technical questions about the project. I'm also joined by Jason Abrams. He's a representative of the property owner, and he can probably weigh in more on operational aspects. So with that, I would just ask if you want us to go through all of the individual waivers or any other details of the project.
First, yeah, I was going to say first, Kurt, do you have any comments? Everything's good from an engineering standpoint? Yeah, I open up the questions for council then.
I just have a question. We already have a Dollar Tree. So will that one be, is that
closing down?
Closing down and they're just going to open a new one? Are we going to have two Dollar Trees?
It's a Family Dollar store, and this is going to be a Dollar Tree, and they're not going to affect each other.
So in Morrisville, that's a
Family Dollars in Falls.
Yes. So the
I see.
The one down the. Okay. So it's not going to affect the others.
Either.
Okay. Thank you.
Actually, we have three in the area, but are they all three different?
Yeah. One is Family Dollar. This will be a Dollar Tree, and it's not affecting any.
And the other Dollar Store. Okay. Mr. Paul?
Yeah.
Just a quick question. Our engineer said, the waivers have all been discussed and we're good to that. We're good there. Just for the public's knowledge, like I looked at the actual plans. You are reducing it a little bit, but could you tell me? Right now, there's offices that are vacant, and then a couple stores, and then the old Dollar Theater. And that's the break where the sidewalk is. So where exactly will the new store start? Back in that area?
So where the old Dollar movie theater
Oh,
was,
right.
that will be coming down. There
Okay.
are three small stores in front of the space,
Mhm.
which is there's a new smoothie shop,
Mhm.
eyebrow threading store, and then JV's barber shop. So those three spaces plus the movie theater, that will all be coming down, and then we will be relocating the existing stores.
Okay.
The vacancy spread out throughout the remaining part of the project, and the rest of the center on that left-hand side from the All Right Dental all the way down to where the pharmacy used to be will be remaining.
Okay. And that's where you'll relocate these other
Yes.
stores.
The restaurant Southern Comfort just closed. We'll be relocating the smoothie shop into that restaurant.
Okay.
and then we lost during the pandemic the hair and beauty supplier, and we'll be subdividing that space and relocating the 2 additional tenants over to that space as well.
So the area where the old theater was is now going to be somewhat of open space?
No, that's going to be the new
Sidewalk?
store. That will be the new
Oh.
store. And if you see on the plan right there, that is.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. You're right. That plus the 3 stores that exist now.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, and then the bump out is, the sidewalk is moving up. If you could point that, yeah, perfect. And then the office space on the 2nd floor will remain unoccupied. We will be, they don't like this word, but it's mothballing it essentially. We will not be leasing that whatsoever.
Okay. Thank you.
You're the marketing experts, we hope. So you'll have 2 dollar stores generically within a half a mile. And then a mile and a half down the road by the river, you have another one. You got a Dollar Tree. So you've got 3 dollar stores within a mile and a half. Is there a market for all these?
So Family Dollar recently acquired, well, not recently, years ago acquired Dollar Tree. So now they do what are called combo stores, which is what the store closest to the Trenton side will become, a combo store, which is a little bit more of a, they're not really dollar stores anymore, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, that's a generic, it's a generic term.
Yeah, exactly, but they become
It's a $1.25 store, to be accurate.
Right, they're very obsolete these days. They're more of a grocer/convenience store, if anything. So, due to the size, which a traditional grocer can be between 20 to 40 to 60,000 square feet, the fact that these are all typically now 10,000 plus minus, it should easily, service the entire neighborhood because of the size of them.
But then you've got the CVS over there too that sells junk food plus medicine. So or just American retail just dumbing itself down.
Look,
And it's not a challenge. I'm just thinking people got to drive out of Levittown past their dollar stores to get to our dollar stores.
yeah,
What's the advantage?
I think you're asking the question of the wrong, person. I'm not, doing operations for, the dollar stores and the CVSs now.
But
They all have a different purpose for a different clientele, whereas CVS is providing prescription drugs as well, which is what a large portion of the CVS now does, as well as urgent care facilities within those. Obviously, a Dollar General or a Dollar Tree is not providing those services whatsoever. You might have 25 to 50% of the CVS provide those medical services now, which they're all becoming more health and wellness geared, whereas that's not what the Dollar Generals and the Dollar Trees of the world are providing anymore. They're pivoting in different directions.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Paul, just one comment. I think my only concern is for the dollar store that is down in the shopping center, because I think you have the market. This location definitely has the market with 4 apartment complexes there. And then I guess now some people go to there instead of going down. So I think that might be a drawback for the one that we have down in the shopping center.
I think that for the one closest to Trenton, you're going to draw more from Trenton, whereas we'll be drawing from the other side and as well from Langhorne. So, there's...
Okay. Which we do now. That dollar store is very busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
and both leases they're not, vacating anytime soon, the existing stores.
If you mothball the top of the stores, maybe you could see to it we could have some sort of community center up there.
Well, I know that our last meeting, traffic and parking was a bit of a concern, so having additional traffic to that second part of the shopping center was a bit of a concern, and we would adhere to those wishes of the members that we met with last time.
Okay. And has it been submitted to Falls? Had they said yes on this? So we're just waiting for our go-ahead.
So Falls Township has reviewed it. We have gone before the Planning Commission and got a recommendation for approval. We're scheduled to go before the Board of Supervisors next, I believe, Monday night. And as part of the resolution that had already been prepared by the solicitor, we have to provide you with
proof of the fact that we've gotten approval from Falls Township, and Falls Township's going to require the same thing. So we have to show each municipality that that we've gotten the approval, because half the stores in one community and half the stores in the other. So it makes sense.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
You made the motion?
Have that already.
Take-
Nancy and Helen.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Good luck.
Zach, you just have him sign.
I didn't pay for this. I don't think you did.
Make a call for motion to authorize the advertisement of the May 2023 Borough Council meeting being rescheduled from Tuesday, May 16th, which is the date of our primary, to Tuesday, May 23rd.
So moved.
Sorry about that. For those of you who couldn't hear, we're advertising the change in the date of the May council meeting from May 16th, the date of the primary election, to Tuesday, May 23rd. Do we have a motion? Okay.
Nancy and
we got
Andrew.
a second? Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Who was the second? I was.
Andrew.
Andrew.
Andrew, I don't care.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Mr. Paul.
Yes, ma'am.
Before we go on to 8D, and this is a motion to reimburse us or me. I didn't pay for the $250 yet. The fee is being billed directly to the borough.
Okay. So we would call for a motion to approve payment on behalf of Councilwoman Nancy Sherlock in the amount of $250 for the fee to attend Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs annual conference.
Right.
Okay. Motion, can I get a call for a motion for that? Second.
I'll second.
Okay. Discussion.
I kind of have a problem with this, both 8D and 8E. Basically because I saw the invoice, one was dated on March 8th, which was prior to our March meeting. And when this came up in the fall of last year and we sent the same two people, we were told that permission would have to obtained from council before anything was done. But it seems like that was not happening, that people are still going ahead on their own without asking permission to spend the borough money. One of the things that we had discussed at the library meeting was, because we had cut the library budget, was that we would pull from this line item to give to the library should they need more money. And I looked at the agenda, and I'm not quite sure why some of the items on there would benefit council. I think it would benefit the borough manager much more. And my suggestion would be that we send the borough manager rather than two council people to the meeting.
Mr. Paul.
Ms. President, yeah. The reason, it was invoiced, and so, because you have to do it so far in advance, and last time I didn't, so I didn't get to stay at the hotel. And that's why the borough hasn't paid any money. And this is the first thing I've heard that some budget changes were being addressed at a meeting that none of us were at or discussed. So I'm sorry, I didn't know that this was a possibility, that you're taking money from one budget to another one because it wasn't in a public meeting. So
I think it was mentioned at the last
No, it
meeting.
wasn't. This is brand new to me too.
Yeah.
That three council people met with the borough manager at the library without us even knowing that it was happening. And now,
Right?
excuse me?
Nothing.
Yeah, I think he
Yes,
said
you were
when we
intimidating. That's intimidating, yes.
Let's not get.
No, I'm not, no,
get
I'm
into
not going to be
the
stopped when I'm making a comment that three members of this body went and made a decision about changing the budget at a meeting that no one even knew was happening. and that was inappropriate.
And I need to clarify that.
We made no decisions at that meeting.
You did, I just heard you did make a
There were-
decision.
I said it was suggested.
Oh, okay.
I didn't say it was decided, it was suggested. And it's for the reading program for the kids. So I would think that no one would have a problem with that.
I have a problem when we have a budget of $8,000 for the year to send people to classes. Has anyone here attended any of the webinars? Do we see any reports from that? Or
I haven't.
Yes, I've attended some of the webinars.
Okay. So, and we didn't know you were going. So, and that doesn't bother me.
I paid for them myself too. So that's one reason why you're not.
All right, that's why we didn't know.
So I need to clarify again. I clarified at the last council meeting. There was an AFSCME union meeting with the library representatives and employees that was requested by the employees. I had asked Councilman Paul to be in attendance because he is the council president, because I have no other employees at the borough office that are non-uniform, non-AFSCME employees. So for the borough manager to be petitioned to go before AFSCME employees and the AFSCME representative with no one else in her presence is not the right thing to do. I asked the council president to attend with me.
Mm-hmm.
I asked Andrew Lubin to attend with me because he is the chair of finance. And Helen was invited.
So that means to me that there were already plans to change.
No.
Then why did the finance director, why did the finance person have to be there?
Because of the fact that Helen had helped with the budget and had a clear understanding of what was done and during budget session with the library budget, that if there were, it was because of questions, if the employees had questions. I actually said to all three council persons that I would be the speaking representative, and unless I asked them to speak, they were to just sit and listen. Could all three of you please clarify? That's what I said to you.
That doesn't matter to me, Ms. Stanko. I appreciate what you're saying.
No.
And you asked Mr. Paul to be there, and I think that would be fine. But the fact that you had to ask two other people, I think it was inappropriate. We didn't even know it was happening.
It was an AFSCME meeting. It's not something that other council members would have.
All the more reason that they didn't need to be there.
Were there any minutes?
There were no minutes. No, that's not AFSCME. This is an AFSCME union meeting requested by the employees.
Right, the employees that work at the library, not the council people.
But the employees, employees at the
I'm
library.
not going to ask any more questions. It's over. We're not going to agree on this. So I think we can move on.
But
We're
it needs to be
agree.
clarified, Nancy, because I've clarified it at the last meeting, and you sent me an email saying that this is not healthy for our budget, for us to change things. We didn't change anything. So I need to clarify this.
Okay.
And
there's a suggestion to this evening to change it, though.
No,
Not from you.
What I'm telling everyone is there was a meeting. I only asked several council persons to be present because of their involvement with things, because if the librarians had questions, I wanted them to be able to be answered because they were union represented. And that is why. So everything that was done with union representation from the employees.
That's not my issue, though. I don't think I'm getting my voice.
But you're not allowing me to finish speaking.
Go ahead.
If I could please just finish. During that meeting, I asked the council persons to not speak unless they were asked questions. And I would be in charge of the meeting with union representation. I did not want to go to that meeting by myself. I wanted others to be able to explain what was, if they were asked, if we were asked questions, I wanted them to be able to explain certain items. The library employees did not understand that if one employee could only work 10 hours a week and we reduced their hours to 20 hours a week each, that the 10 hours that one employee didn't work, the other employee could pick up the extra hours. They did not understand that. They thought that everyone had to either work the 20 hours they were allowed, and if they only could work 10 hours, no one else could work anymore. They didn't understand that concept. I explained that to them, and they now understand that they have X amount of hours for the entire month to utilize so they can achieve their budget and so they can continue to keep the library operating in a good manner. They left that meeting extremely happy. They also petitioned us saying there was $3,000 in the budget line item for the summer program and that was taken out, which we all knew that at the budget meetings, and I said to council, you have to make a decision as to what you would like to happen. And everyone agreed that the budget got finalized without that $3,000.
Except for the two people that voted against the budget for that reason.
I understand.
So,
let me continue. So
you did give this report last month, though, so we did hear this.
But I gave the report last month, but you sent me an email after that asking me the same questions. I have that email, so I'm trying to clarify that nothing budget-wise got changed. There was discussion, and I'm trying to get to that point. The discussion was that the expectation was for the librarians to seek donations for the summer program. So I explained that to the librarians at the AFSCME meeting, and they agreed that they would do that. Last month, I celebratory, in many ways, said, I'm so proud of the librarians because Sue Neff achieved $3,000 worth of donations for that line item. And the summer program will be taking place, and the librarians left our AFSCME meeting very happy. But they did say if they couldn't achieve getting the donations, is there a place where these funds could be taken from, a line item from the borough budget? At that point, I opened the discussion to the finance chair and to Helen saying, would you, either of you and Mr. Paul, want to proceed in suggesting another line item that maybe we could take these funds from the borough budget and give it to the library? They, in conjunction, said maybe from this training line item, we could do that.
Also, Andrew suggested the $10,000 from my budget. Right?
Correct.
But I don't have 10,000.
Right, you don't have, right. So there was two line items that were suggested that possibly, if the donations did not take place, and that we would come back to the entire board members of council and bring this to them.
So is that what's happening now? You're coming back to the board now to find out if we can take it from the...
No, I don't believe, at this time...
Because they found the $3,000?
Yes, at this time, the $3,000 worth of donations were accessed through the librarians. So I have not heard anything from the librarians at this point if they need any more than that. If they would come back to us and ask for more, the suggestion were those two line items to take from. But that will be a decision of the council as a whole. No one is making that decision without everyone on council being included. Okay. And that needs to be said. No decisions were made without all of council. There were no decisions made. There was just simply discussion. And I needed non-uniform, non-union personnel with me as persons with me, because there are no minutes that are taken. That's the way it works. There are no minutes. So I was not going alone, and I wanted representation. And that was why. There was nothing done deviously. There's no conspiracy theory here. It was all to work with the library and to achieve the things we have. The librarians left graciously, very happy. The union representative left very happy. Sue Neff left very happy, coming back with $3,000 worth of donations. The library is now actively working with me, and they've been continually consulting back and forth as to what they can do with their hours and how much they can spend. Every single item has been positive. There has not been any negativity towards any of this. And that's what needs to be clarified. There was never any ill contentions here. It needs to work with the library.
May I clarify something when you're done, please?
Thank you, yes.
The library board, I'm sorry, I am on the library board, which I suppose would not have qualified me for going to being one of your three. I also do the budget and look over it, and line by line, very faithfully. But that's not, I'm over that. My point is, the library was going by the budget. If you look at the budget that was passed by the majority of this council, it showed that each one of them had to back down 5 hours apiece per week. That's what they were going by. So for you to say that they should have known that they could use those hours, they weren't going to use those hours. I was still on the library board January and February, and I explained to them that they would have to discuss using more hours, even after Sue said she was going to give some up. You also have Dawn who's leaving, so there are free hours, which means there are some free hours, but you're now losing 2 bodies. So it's, the point I'm trying to make is they didn't know. You're right, they know now because you met with them. They didn't know before that they could use those hours.
It was provided.
It was never explained to them. It was not explained to them in January and February.
I provided them with an email that showed that they had X amount of hours that could be utilized as a whole, and they had to stay within those hours. It didn't matter who worked them as long as they stayed within those hours. If they did not understand, they could have picked up the phone and called me. We didn't have to have a union representation and have the meeting that we had, but it was so positive that after they left, they now understood, and that's what I'm trying to explain. If you have 5 librarians and each of them are allowed to have 20 hours each, they thought that if one only could work 10 hours, that other 10 could not be distributed throughout to the other librarians. And that was not the case. And that is so nothing got added. You had sent emails saying, I reinstated their hours. I did not reinstate anyone's hours. I'm going by the budget, and that is,
If they were told in December 31st that they could only work.
Can we stay on topic, Scott Holbert? Can we stay on the motion?
The motion concerns a payment of $250 for Ms. Sherlock to attend the PSAB annual conference. There was a suggestion about the line item funds. We've talked about that. It got a little far, and I think we've gone a little far beyond the motion at hand and what you should be discussing.
I have a question with respect to the motion. Ms. Sherlock, and this is also from Ms. Price Engelhardt, in addition to the $250 registration fee, what other expenses are you going to be seeking reimbursement for?
The motel, sorry.
And do we know what the amount is?
Yeah, it's about $800.
A piece?
A piece.
In addition to the $250?
Yes. Isn't that what yours?
Yes, yeah. That's why the budget has always been budgeted about $1,000 a person.
This is, yeah, and also it does have the discounted fee. That's why we did it early.
And are you putting in for meals and mileage?
I haven't ever. We didn't last
Meals
year.
are included.
Yeah.
Mileage would be.
Mileage, though.
Yeah.
May I say something? So I know the library is a little bit off topic here, but we're very limited with the money that we have in our borough. Okay, we're on a shoestring budget, and I don't understand if it's $800 for the cost of the thing and $250 for travel and whatnot. We're looking at like $2,100. That's 2 people in this borough that make $100,000 of their a year, their EIT right down the drain for a political junket. Okay, that there's questions and there's stuff at this course that if I went to this course and I sat in a hotel conference room for an hour, had somebody talk to me, wouldn't it be better financially for the borough and better for my time than to give Judith a call and say, hey Judith, can you give me a quick speech on downtown renovation 101? These conferences have happened every year. We've been sending people these conferences every year. Like, what good do they do to the borough? Like Like, explain to me, if whoever's been, Dave, I'm sure you've been to these before. What has that done to enrich the borough? Like, well, where's the $2,100 for people going to this conference when we're on a shoestring budget?
Mr. Poll, I'd like a motion to table my portion, because I want to discuss this at another time. It's taking up way too much time for this. I'd like a motion to table 8D.
Okay, can we do that?
Is there a second?
I'll second it. All in favor of the motion to table?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Some non-voting members.
2-1. Do we need to do a roll call on this?
Yes.
Virginia, please do a roll call. This is on the motion to table.
Mr. Engelhardt?
Nay.
Mr. Lubin?
Yes. Table.
Mr. Maness?
Yes, table.
Ms. Law?
Yes, table.
Mr. Robinson?
I guess table.
Mr. Sherlock?
Yes.
And Mr. Paul?
Yes.
Six to one, table.
Thank you. And that brings us to item 8E. Call for a motion to approve reimbursement for Councilwoman Catherine Price Engelhardt in the amount of $250.
So moved.
Second?
I second it.
Okay. Discussion?
I hope not.
Can I say something?
Please.
I'll keep it brief and
Go
kind and
ahead.
sweet. Scott had some pretty good questions. He wanted to know what benefits the council, what helps the council. Why do we send people to these conferences in education? Because number one, you learn. A lot of people don't know the difference between a committee meeting, an advisory council, what the different things are. This is where you learn those kind of things and you ask questions. If you wonder about what other people are doing on their committees and how they're doing it and how they're progressing, this is the place that you ask. You get to know about upcoming legislation that's impacting. There's roundtables with PennDOT and I think Amtrak and a lot of other places that impact our council. So this is where you get the information, you're able to ask questions, you're able to vote on different legislations that would be used. This is the place that we do it. And last year we didn't send anybody, and we didn't send voters either, and our delegates to vote on these things. We lost our voice. And that's why these are important. It continually trains us and keeps us abreast of new changes in the Sunshine Law, the Open Act Law, monies that are available in Parks and Recreation and in streets, all of that. That's what we get out of this. Thank you.
When I ran with the ambulance squad, I did about 15 years with the squad, and there were classes that I had to take. And actually, the squad paid for my EMT class. But there were other classes that were available that fell under Con Ed, and stuff that wasn't under Con Ed, stuff that I could take, that I could go take the class, okay? And then I would hand the bill into Roxy, whoever was doing the billing at the squad, and pay for it. But I paid for those classes out of my pocket because the ambulance squad was on a shoestring budget. No one's telling you you can't go to this class. It's $800. Why don't you? We're just saying we don't have the money to pay for it. I mean, you come up with $800, it's like a mini vacation. We're not telling you can't go. We're just saying the borough, we don't have the money for this stuff. We don't. And if you look at the condition of our borough that we're in right now, that we've had people here that have that have gone to these classes, I just don't see the value of it. I mean, I can hire somebody to paint my house that says he goes to Con Ed painting classes every week, and he comes to paint my house and he does a mediocre job or a below average job. I'm gonna say, what about all those classes you went to? Like, you didn't learn anything? Well, yeah, I learned this and I learned that. Well, what did you learn? What did you learn? What is going to affect us at a council meeting in 1 month, 6 months, and 1 year from now? Of the value that we're going to get out of this class. Are you going to bring the course material back and share it with the rest of the people on council? If we're paying for it, we should be able to see it.
Mr. Parker?
I don't understand the value of the 21.
I'm sorry. You have me very upset.
When the library didn't have $3,000 for the summer budget, okay, and now we're just going to take $2,100 and just throw it like we're in a casino, so people can go sashay onto what I think is a political junket.
Mr. Parker? Mr. Parker again. Mr. Paul?
Yes.
You know, maybe it's time for me to go home. I apologize for that again. You know, I don't know, maybe no one on this council read the 7-page report I gave when I went to the October one. And maybe you didn't find out what we learned, what we were reading, what was going on. So, you know, I'm just tired of fighting. I'm really tired of fighting. And fighting one particular person on this dais. If it happens to be my idea or something I want to do, all of a sudden it's negativity and negativity. There's a way to make it stop. I'm tired of it. Thank you.
Just for Mr. Paul.
Yes, ma'am.
I just lost my spot. I wanted to read to the public what the agenda items were. One of them had to do with updates to the right to know law, engineering, closing the digital divide, a better understanding of the right to know, downtown revitalization 101, multimodal transportation in Pennsylvania, preparing and reviewing municipal contracts, acquiring blighted tax exempt properties for reuse. To me, keeping your zoning ordinances current, to me, these are really pertinent topics for a borough manager.
Well, they may be pertinent for the borough manager, but they're not necessarily not pertinent for council members. I think that's going a little too far. But do we have any further discussion? Or should we, do we want to vote? We're ready to vote on this? Okay, let's do a roll call, Virginia.
Yes. Ms. Grace Engelhardt?
Yes.
Mr. Lubin?
No. The only, my mic is, no.
Mr. Minette?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
No.
Mr. Robinson?
No.
Mrs. Sherlock?
Yes.
Mr. Paul?
Yes.
So you're going.
Advance is 4-3.
Okay. Item 8F. Call for a motion to designate an official voting delegate and alternate delegate for the 111th General Assembly of Boroughs, June 4th to 7th, 2023. Designated voting delegate is appointed for the purpose of electing the officers of the association and voting on proposed resolutions and policies.
So moved.
Seconded.
Discussion.
We have to have a name in there. I'm going to insert Catherine's name in as the
Right,
voting delegate.
since we've approved Catherine to go, we'll approve her as the voting delegate, and we'll hold open the issue of the alternate whenever we get back to your tabled motion. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote. Roll call, Virginia, please.
Yes. Ms. Grace Engelhardt?
Yes.
Mr. Lubin?
No.
Mr. Minette?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
No.
Mr. Robinson?
Scott?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Now we can.
Oh, no, that's what the bad spot.
Mrs. Sherlock?
Yes.
And Mr. Paul?
Yes.
Passes 4-3.
Okay, item 8G. Call for a motion to approve the event date of July 25, 2023 for the annual Night Out event in Williamson Park, contingent upon all necessary forms and paperwork being submitted and approved.
So moved. Second.
Discussion.
So I have a question. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Scott.
Is this like in conjunction with the national night out? Because I thought that was the first Tuesday in August.
The chief had mentioned that, and it was pushed forward by a week due to scheduling, I believe, was the issue.
Thanks for paying attention.
Somebody has to.
So he had, in his memo that Chief McClay had sent to us, he had mentioned in there that a borough has to pay for the insurance for the bouncy house. Is that normal?
If we're sponsoring the event, yes.
Oh, okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8H. Call for motion to approve resolution approving amendments to the rules and regulations of the Morrisville Civil Service Commission.
So moved.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries.
Was that Andrew or Scott that made it?
Andrew, second.
Andrew.
Thank you.
Item 8I. Call for a motion to approve adopting the Commonwealth and Municipal Traffic Signal Maintenance Agreement with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and approving the borough manager to be authorized and directed to submit the agreement on behalf of the borough.
So moved.
Discussion.
Who was the second?
Catherine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Item 8J. Call for motion to award the copier contract to Canon Solutions America at $670 per month. Contract is 60 months and includes all training, service, and supplies except for paper.
So moved.
Discussion.
I have a question. Judith, are you satisfied with the current copier performance that's going on? And would you continue with what we're doing?
Scott, yes, I'm extremely happy with it. And I would like to say that a huge thank you to Virginia for working diligently to get some very good prices for the borough. I'm very excited about this. And again, the police department will be getting a color copier this time. So we're bringing our offices up to the 21st century, which is a very nice thing to do. So yes, Scott, I'm extremely happy. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
I have to abstain on the grounds that my mom works for them, so I don't want to.
Okay, an honest man. Note the recusal. Okay. Item 8L. We deleted item 8K as Debbie Colgan had requested. Item 8L. Call for motion to approve contacting PennDOT to request a change in the speed limit on Delmore Avenue from 35 miles an hour to 25 miles an hour.
So moved.
Seconded.
Who was the second?
I think Jason.
Jason or Catherine?
I can get one for the year, I guess.
Can I have a clarification? It probably should say North Delmore Avenue, because South Delmore, we're referencing North Delmore by the park.
It should probably be all of Delmore Avenue.
I thought South Delmore was already 25.
Portions of Delmar is already 25, but I just said all of Delmar because that's,
Simpler.
it was
To keep
simpler.
it consistent, okay.
I would like all of Delmar to be. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Motion carries. Item 8M, call for a motion to adopt resolution acknowledging and recognizing the week from May 21, 2023 through May 27, 2023 as National Public Works Week.
So moved.
I think that's Andrew. I don't know if I can hear you.
Yes, it's Andrew.
Andrew made the second.
Discussion?
Like it's not working.
Oh, okay. Any discussion? Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. And item 8N, call for a motion to consider approval of the borough sponsoring a new 457 plan for uniform and non-uniform employees. Plan sponsorship would be a cost of $500 for the borough and any legal fees for contract review by our solicitor.
So moved.
Second.
Is that a total cost of $500 or per employee?
Total $500 to do a new plan, and then whatever legal fees would to review the plan.
Could you explain to the public about this?
I certainly can. Having the ability for the employees to have deductions from their paycheck for a 457 plan is extremely important for employees to be able to gear some of their funds towards retirement. It's very important to do that, and there are tax benefits and so forth when the borough itself has a plan and the employees are able to partake in that plan. So what takes place is biweekly when our pay is done, employees have the option to decide how much money they would like to put towards their 457 plan for their future retirement. So it's an important thing to offer to all employees, because saving some funds for your future is extremely important. I'm not sure if there were any other items you'd like me to touch upon.
Just so the public knows.
Yes.
Because 457 isn't really, it's a government thing.
Sure. No, I just wanted to make sure that I'm explaining what everybody was expecting. Any other questions?
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Other business?
Council President, I do have something. I have the voting delegates sheet, which I provided everyone in their packet. This goes back to any members that would be going to the association as a voting delegate or an alternate delegate. I would have to provide back to Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs by May 19th of 2023 who those persons would be. So at this time, I do have our voting delegate would be Catherine. I would not have an alternate at this point to put place on this if we are tabling the motion as you have. So if council continues to want to do that, that's fine. I just want everyone to know that this form would be going in with our voting delegate, and no others would.
Got it.
Mr. President, all we did was table to pay for it. We didn't table that she couldn't go, in my understanding. So I could nominate her to be the alternate. Am I correct, Scott? We just tabled the pay.
Yeah, that is correct. You could vote on an alternate delegate tonight, and
Sure.
fine.
Then that's what I'm trying to get to. So I know that the original vote was completed already in the form that it was. So this would be.
There would be no issues with making another motion and taking a vote on that as well. another motion could be made to appoint an alternate delegate.
I move that we appoint Nancy Sherlock as the alternate delegate.
Seconded?
I'm sorry, was the second Mr. Maness?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Discussion? There's a roll call, Virginia.
Yes. Ms. Price Engelhard?
Yes.
Mr. Lubin?
Yes.
Mr. Maness?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Yes. Mrs. Sherlock?
Yes.
And Mr. Paul?
Yes. Thank you. Any other business?
Thank you.
Mr. Paul?
Anyone else? Yes.
Just a couple. It's my understanding that the ARPA report will be, need to be completed by April 30th, and I would like to hope that all of council will get a copy of that final report.
We brought this up last year, Nancy, and there is no written report. It's all done electronically. And I was unable to print anything last year. So if there's a way to print it, I'll find out. Basically, last year we chose to choose the one-time exemption. So other than that exemption, I'm unsure as to what else we have to provide to them. We may not need to provide other items to them. So I'm actually looking into that right now as to the reporting. But we did choose the one-time exemption. And that's where we're at currently.
So you don't believe that we have to report what we're spending our money on, you mean?
No, I believe we have to report what we're spending our money on, but I'm unsure as to what will be taking place at that point. You obviously know that the gas boy so far is one of the items.
Right.
The roof will be the next, the sewer project, the electric project. So those are the items that we'll be adding to that.
But they're projected items, like they won't be done before the 30th of April, so what do? We just put the gas boy in only?
It will only be the items that you have already voted on and approved.
And paid for.
So it will be the gas boy, which you have already have that information, and it will, it's depending on the sewer. I don't think that we will have the work most likely done, but we probably won't have the invoicing completed at that point.
Okay.
So really at this point, the only invoicing will be the gas boy, which all of you have already received that information. So you know what that is.
Right.
So I really wouldn't be providing council anything other than that. But upcoming, you will know exactly what will be on that report because you have voted on those items at the meeting. So you already voted for the gas boy to be paid by ARPA funds, which we did. You have voted for the sewer to be paid by ARPA funds, which we will be doing. You will be voting on the roof to be paid by ARPA funds, and then the electrical. So you will already know ahead of time what you're voting for and what will be there.
Next question. This has to do with the wires on Center Street. The last I got the information from, I think it was John's response. Are we contacting them, or do we know what wires they are?
I'm asking John to come forward, please.
I contacted the homeowners and told them that they were going to have to call their service provider to pull some of those wires up that are hanging low. So
Why do we have to? Why are the homeowners required? If
it's their phone lines, it's their services. If I call,
well, how do they know that what the lines are?
I told them that we know it's coming to their phone lines or whatever. If it's in my backyard, I have to call. If I call them, if I call Verizon or Comcast, they're going to say, "Do you have an account number?" No, it's at this address. Well, I need it.
So they're definitely phone lines. Is that what you're saying?
Phone lines or cable lines, one or the other. So I think one is actually phone and one is cable. So.
Okay, so this is good for the public to know that if you have a wire down, you have to call.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Question for Judith. I saw on the bill list that, no, not the bill list, I'm sorry, the library budget, that there was a library rental for $175. Do you know rented the library?
The library budget from last year?
No,
Or-
not the
oh,
budget.
you mean financials?
Yeah.
They
Just
may have.
curious if you know.
Right, they may have, I know they were going to try to work on renting the downstairs room.
Right.
So they may have rented that.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
It used to be the railroad was constant there every month.
Oh,
So maybe they paid all at once or something.
sure. I'm not sure myself because I don't see when the deposits come in from the girls doing them, but that may be possible. I know that they did discuss that they would like to try to increase the amount of rentals that they have so they could generate some income.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
I'll make a motion to adjourn
Second.
if there's nothing else.
Zoni, could you please?
We wanna-
If you could please announce, Council President. the
Okay,
opening of the-
Borough Manager just wants me to mention that we still have an opening on the zoning hearing board for an alternate, 1 3-year alternate remainder of the unexpired term, which expires January 8,
Okay.
2024.
Thank you, Council President.
If there's no other business, we have a motion to adjourn. That was seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you all very much.
Second. To adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.
Jason. If you could please stay to sign some things.
Okay.
If you could please stay to sign some things. Did Andrew leave already? Where is he?
No, it's